everyone, Jessica Shire here and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm using some Kat Scrappiness products to make a really cool, fun, coffee, creepy kind of card. So I wanted to use this skull image. This is also from the Toil and Trouble. You probably saw this when I did the cat shaker card. I'll have a link to that down below. But this is also another 3-layered stamp. So you have your base layer. I stamped that with some Sandy Beach Gina K ink, and then I'm going to use the second layer with some craft ink, slightly darker. And I'm actually just going to hand stamp this because it's really easy to line up. I was kind of scared. I kind of said that in the video when I did the cat shaker one. It's really easy to line up actually. So for my third layer, for the final layer, this one adds a lot of depth and a lot of creepiness to it. I'm going to use the slate ink from Gina K also. And I just like the color combination. It just looks really cool to me. And I'm also going to use the die to cut out this little skull. So I'm going to add him to my project in just a moment. So for my main focal point, I'm going to be using the Kat Scrappiness layered coffee cup die. This die is really cool. It cuts out everything that you need to make a layered coffee cup, just like the name says. And there is some really good informational pictures and stuff on how to put this together on the Kat Scrappiness website. So make sure you check that out. But like I said, it's really easy to put together. And I'm going to do some ink blending on this. I took out, this is like the little sleeve part that goes around the coffee cup. And I'm going to ink blend it using a couple different oranges. I have spiced marmalade and wild honey. These are very similar together. It's just a slight difference, and I kind of like that little bit of a different of tone. I'm also going to take some of the smaller pieces, some of these accent pieces, and I'm going to use that same slate ink from Gina K that I had stamped that third layer of the skull. And I'm going to ink blend over that. So I did cut everything out of white cardstock. And all of these dies did fit on a A2 size, so a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 Nina 110-pound cardstock panel. So I think that's kind of important. Also use some of that ink on the actual body of the coffee cup to give it some texture. You could also Copic blend on this. You could cut this coffee cup out of colored cardstock. There's just a lot of different things. And I thought this was really fun. So I'm going to use some glue. I just used my ATG to attach that orange sleeve to the coffee cup. And then I'm going to use some multimedia matte glue to adhere all these other little smaller pieces. Tweezers definitely help. They help with the skinny, tiny pieces to make sure they get adhered in the correct places. They're hard to grab onto, so I definitely like to use the tweezers for stuff like this. I love the dimension that you get from just layering cardstock like this. It easily gets put together. I'm going to keep it a little bit creepy on the Halloween side, and I added my skull to the front of that coffee cup. And I also wanted to stamp a greeting on the coffee cup just to add a bit more to this. So I went with another sentiment from that Toil and Trouble stamp set that says eat, drink, and be scary, which I thought was fitting for this little skull and coffee cup. I'm going to stamp that with the craft ink, which is one of the colors that I used on that skull stamping. And I've had these cute little pumpkin sprinkles from Kat Scrappiness. It's one of their new releases for September. There was just a bunch of sprinkles that were released, but this one, I thought these were so cute. I had to use them somehow, so I'm going to attach them to the sleeve just to act as a decorative detail. Kind of works all together with the pumpkin spice and coffee and Halloween, so that was kind of my theory behind that. I'm also using the tweezers again to help lay those down, and I just dotted a bunch of glue onto that sleeve in the areas that I thought would work for these little pumpkins and just pop them right on. It didn't take very long, and I don't know, I think they look cute. It brings a little whimsy to my little creepy skull there. I used one of the stitch rectangle dies from the Crafters Essentials die set. And this die set has a lot of different ones. You can kind of see them on the bottom right hand corner there. Those are just some of the ones that come in this die set. And I'm also going to use these strips. So this, in the die set, you have these 4 strips. So one of them has like a dot and a dash, one has a dot. Just a bunch of different like details, little small details. So I thought it would be kind of cool to just add that texture to my background. So I went ahead and I kind of slanted those going up so they spread up from that lower left hand corner, and it'll be just a good accent for my coffee cup. So those dies do not cut, they only kind of do a impression like the stitching detail around the rectangle, so they don't cut whatsoever. It's just a cool texture, I think. I'm going to do some more ink blending. This time I'm using some greens. I've kind of been crazy about these green colors lately. And I use peeled paint and twisted citron just to have a very slight gradient on that background piece. I thought it needed a bit more, so I had the Got Coffee die, also from Kat Scrappiness, and I just die cut that on that top part, mainly where the twisted citron is. And I'm going to re-inlay that onto this back. So I go ahead and take out all the die cut pieces, and it looks cool just like that, I think, but I backed it with a piece of light gray cardstock, and I'm going to reset that die back into it, but leaving out all of those small inlay pieces like the center of the E. So it's just a word, but you get a glimpse of that gray cardstock behind it. Now I can attach my coffee cup to the bottom left-hand corner, and I think it just looks really cool. But just to make that Got Coffee die stand out a little bit more, I added some Wink of Stella. Mine's kind of old, so it's kind of clogging up. You can see the bubbles kind of spurting out. It's probably time for a new one. But I went ahead and got that working, and I'm going to add some sparkle over that Got Coffee die cut. And this will slightly react with those Distress Oxide inks too, because it's like a water base. And it just helps that stand out a bit more. So I'm going to use a craft card base. This is a A2 size craft card base. I went ahead and I used a piece of 80-pound Nina Solar White cardstock. Trim that down slightly to where it's 4 inches by 5 1/4. That's kind of my favorite layering piece. And then I can pop that panel with my coffee cup and the Got Coffee and my little skull and those pumpkins on the top to finish this card off. This would be really cute for a Halloween card for a friend. Maybe pop in a coffee gift card, your favorite coffee place. I hope you enjoyed this. I thought it was a lot of fun. I love the little accent pieces and the texture that you can get with some of these Kat Scrappiness goodies. So I'll have the links below for any of the Kat Scrappiness products that you can find in the store down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and I appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next one.